Every man has been taught the same fatal lie. If you love her enough, chase her harder. So men text first, beg for attention, sacrifice dignity, and slowly become invisible to the very woman they desire. But what if the chase itself is the reason she loses attraction? In this video, you will learn the brutal psychological truth Niccolò Machiavelli understood centuries ago: power never belongs to the one who pursues desperately. It belongs to the one who controls desire. You will discover why chasing women destroys mystery, why emotional hunger makes you weak, and how to become the man women instinctively pursue without you asking for their attention. Because a powerful man does not chase blindly. He hunts with patience, strategy. Every man has been taught the same fatal lie. If you love her enough, chase her harder. So men text first, beg for attention, sacrifice dignity, and slowly become invisible to the very woman they desire. But what if the chase itself is the reason? Desperation is the most repulsive energy a man can carry. The moment a man becomes emotionally hungry for validation, he stops acting like a king and starts behaving like a servant begging for crumbs of attention. He waits for her replies like a prisoner waiting for mercy. He overthinks every message. He panics when she becomes distant. He tries harder when she pulls away. And without realizing it, he places her above himself. This is where attraction dies. Niccolò Machiavelli understood something most men still fail to understand today: power belongs to the one who needs less. The man who is emotionally dependent has already surrendered control. Because when your happiness depends on another person's attention, you become predictable, weak, easy to manipulate. And women sense this instantly. A desperate man always reveals himself, not through words alone, but through behavior. He texts too quickly because he fears losing her attention. He constantly seeks reassurance because silence terrifies him. He agrees with everything she says because he fears conflict. He sacrifices his standards because he fears replacement. And the more he chases, the less valuable he appears, because in psychology, humans rarely value what is easily obtained. Think about it carefully. Why do people chase status? Because it is rare. Why do people admire confidence? Because it is uncommon. Why do people become obsessed with mystery? Because uncertainty creates emotional tension. But a desperate man removes all mystery. He reveals his entire soul before she has earned access to it. He offers loyalty before respect, attention before interest, commitment before reciprocity. He gives everything away instantly, and then wonders why the excitement disappears. Machiavelli would call this a strategic failure. A ruler who reveals all his intentions loses leverage. A man who exposes all his emotions loses intrigue. The moment she knows you are fully conquered by her presence, the psychological game changes. Now she no longer wonders about you. And when curiosity dies, attraction often follows. Understand this brutal truth: women are not attracted to men who worship them blindly. They are attracted to men who possess control over themselves. A man with purpose. A man with discipline. A man whose life does not collapse because one woman became distant. That is power. And power creates attraction far more than endless compliments ever will. Most men believe persistence creates desire. But there is a thin line between confidence and emotional dependence. Confidence says, I desire you. Desperation says, I need you to validate my existence. Those are not the same thing. One creates respect. The other destroys it, and the tragedy is, desperate men rarely realize what they are doing. They think effort alone should earn love. So they chase harder. They double text. They overinvest emotionally. They become available every second of the day. They abandon their mission, their ambition, even their self-respect. hoping devotion will make them irresistible. But attraction cannot grow where weakness dominates. Machiavelli warned rulers never to surrender authority through emotional impulsiveness. The same principle applies here. The man who loses emotional control becomes vulnerable to rejection, manipulation, and humiliation. Because once a woman realizes you fear losing her more than she fears losing you, the balance of power shifts, and suddenly, she becomes the center of your world while you become only an option in hers. This is why emotionally detached men often appear more attractive. Not because they are cruel, but because they are grounded. Their identity is not built around female approval. They have direction beyond romance. Their attention feels valuable because it is not handed out desperately. Scarcity creates value. A man obsessed with chasing attention communicates one thing subconsciously: I have nothing more important than you. But a powerful man communicates something entirely different without even speaking: my life has purpose with or without your presence. Most men enter relationships already defeated. Not because the woman rejected them, but because deep inside, they have already placed her above themselves. They walk into conversations hoping to be chosen, hoping to be accepted, hoping to prove they are good enough. And the moment a man begins seeking validation instead of embodying value, he unconsciously becomes a beggar. Niccolò Machiavelli understood something timeless about human nature: people are drawn toward those who appear complete within themselves. Power, influence, attraction, all begin with perceived self-sufficiency. The man who constantly seeks approval appears dependent. The man who does not need approval appears powerful. This is why becoming the prize changes everything. A beggar asks for attention. A prize attracts it naturally. Look carefully at how most men behave around women they desire. Their personality changes instantly. Their voice softens. Their standards disappear. Suddenly they become too agreeable, too available, too eager to impress. They laugh harder than necessary. They hide their opinions to avoid conflict. They sacrifice authenticity for acceptance. Why? Because they fear losing the opportunity. And fear always destroys power. The desperate man enters every interaction trying to win the woman. But the powerful man enters observing whether the woman deserves access to his world. That single shift transforms the entire dynamic. Machiavelli would say that a ruler who constantly seeks the approval of others loses authority over himself. The same principle governs attraction. The moment your identity depends on whether someone chooses you, you surrender your emotional freedom, and women can feel this instantly. A man who seeks validation radiates emotional hunger. His compliments feel strategic rather than genuine. His attention feels excessive. His behavior becomes performative because every action is secretly driven by, and question: how do I make her like me? But powerful men ask different questions. Does this woman bring peace into my life? Does she respect herself? Can she match my standards? Is she worthy of my time, energy, and commitment? Notice the difference. One man is auditioning for approval. The other is evaluating compatibility. And human psychology naturally respects the second man more. Because confidence is not loud arrogance. Confidence is emotional independence. It is the ability to remain grounded whether someone accepts you or rejects you. Most men misunderstand attraction because they believe women are chasing perfection. They think attraction is built only on looks, money, or status. Those things matter, yes. Most men misunderstand the game entirely. They believe attraction is built through constant pursuit. More messages. More compliments. More attention. More availability. They think if they physically chase hard enough, eventually the woman will surrender emotionally. But Niccolò Machiavelli understood a truth far deeper than modern romance advice. Human beings are not controlled by force. They are controlled by psychology, and this is where weak men fail. Because they pursue physically while powerful men pursue psychologically. The average man believes attraction is about being seen constantly. So he floods her phone with messages. He reacts instantly. He tries to stay, but in reality, constant pursuit destroys tension. And tension is the birthplace of attraction. Think carefully about human nature. People obsess over what they cannot fully predict. The mind becomes addicted to uncertainty. This is why mystery creates emotional intensity stronger than endless availability ever could. A woman does not become emotionally consumed by the man who is always chasing her. She becomes intrigued by the man who remains calm, controlled, and difficult to fully read. Machiavelli mastered this principle in politics centuries ago. He knew rulers who revealed every intention became vulnerable. Predictable men are easily controlled because everyone already knows their next move. The same applies to attraction. The most powerful man in any room is rarely the loudest. He is the calmest. The one who does not panic. The one who does not beg. The one who does not lose himself emotionally the moment attraction enters his life. Niccolò Machiavelli understood a dangerous truth about human behavior: the person who controls their emotions controls the outcome. And nowhere is this more important than in attraction. Most men lose before the game even begins because they become emotionally attached too quickly. The moment they meet a woman they desire, they surrender their composure. Their mind becomes chaotic. They overanalyze every interaction. They crave certainty immediately. They start imagining the future before the foundation even exists. And because of this emotional impulsiveness, they destroy the very thing they seek. Attraction. Because attraction thrives on emotional tension, mystery, and self-control. But the emotionally reactive man cannot maintain any. The moment you stop chasing validation, begging for attention, and surrendering your power, you become the man people fear losing instead of the man afraid of being left behind. If this video opened your eyes, subscribe now and step into the mindset of power, discipline, and psychological mastery, because weak men chase, but powerful men are pursued.